The Long Island organism. Or what if this part of New York was formed on top of a 91-meter organism? What? Oh, I'm sorry, this is a 91-kilometer long organism. So this is some sort of like alien creature. Or maybe it's been on Earth the whole time. It could be from Earth, it doesn't have to be alien, Drew. And it clearly is digging tunnels. Wait, is this something from Dune? Is this what's currently under Long Island at the moment? The orange circles represent the initial hibernation sites. So either one of them started in kind of Venezuela maybe, and the other in Haiti, or has it hibernated in two different parts here? Oh, the heart represents the procreation site. Okay, so there were two different ones and they came and mated. This is getting weird already. Somewhere just east of the Caribbean islands. After they did that, one went down here to Colombia, it looks like. The other one took a long vacation up north to New York. So Long Island is screwed, basically. And this is not the only organism. There's actually multiple, it appears. Well, obviously we confirmed that there's two, but there might even be more than that. Well, as long as this thing doesn't pop its head out, does it really even matter? They can live down there, just don't come up here. That's when we're gonna start to have real problems. This would actually be such a cool plot to a movie. Hollywood, please make this. Africa in chains. This is if most of this continent was held under an apartheid. Oh god. That obviously went horrible for South Africa, so this is literally a nightmare scenario. Live reaction from the nightmare bringer. So this is a world in 1974. I guess Africa has technically still been decolonized, but well actually no, there still seems to obviously be some French influences here. Now I don't think all the countries are led by a white minority, just the vast majority of the continent. So yeah, all the green countries have a majority rule. Of course, as always through history, Ethiopia is one of the outliers. I love Ethiopian history. It's always so incredible. So you can literally see it in the names themselves, the nations that have just a majority rule. Look at the horrific border gore. That is the Federation of Equatorial Africa. Another one of my favorite countries in this continent, Equatorial Guinea. It's still a colony of Spain in this planet. It's the only place here that speaks Spanish. Of course, Madagascar was colonized by the French, so they still have rule here. So we have a pretty massive Republic of South Africa that's been divided up into several different states. This is probably the worst of them all. This is the last place on Earth you want to be. The Belgians should never be allowed in the Congo again. I love how this map shows a little bit outside of Africa, sharing a little bit more about the world. There is an Israel here. We also have the Imperial State of Iran. You can see the corner of the USSR. This is still the 70s, so they have not collapsed yet. Oh, that's right. And Spain is still fascist because they're led by Francisco Franco. You can even still see the hints of colonialism in the flag designs themselves. Obviously, Angola here is looking very Portuguese. So is Mozambique in this world. South Africa is still using this flag. Oh, that's right. Liberia. They should be doing their own thing. Yes, Liberia is. So that is the American, well, quote-unquote, American African colony, kind of. Well, I guess you can say it's nice to see they're still being left alone. Kind of. I mean... This would feel like a powder keg ready to literally explode at any moment. Who knows exactly how chaotic that would eventually be. North America, if it looked more like Asia. Don't ask me how. I mean, the physical landmasses obviously don't look like Asia, but the borders kind of do. To start things off, we have the Canadian Federation, referencing the Russian Federation. They extend all the way to Alaska in this universe. Then we have the People's Republic of America, or basically China. Montana, which is kind of functioning like a Mongolia, just a buffer state. They're kind of allowed to exist because China and Russia won't let either one take it. I love that this US state was chosen. If anyone was going to have a Hordic type empire, it probably would be Montana. They do got a lot of horses and cowboys up there. So Florida is this world's Korean peninsula. You got to make this a peninsula, obviously. So northern Florida is the, they're communists, known as the Democratic People's Republic of Florida, probably led by a crazy Florida man too. This is for some reason reminding me in the 90s when Kim Jong-il and Kim Jong-un had fake IDs in order to secretly visit Disney World. That actually happened. Well, it might have actually been Disneyland, I'm not sure, but one of them. Anyways, Disney World now being controlled by the equivalent of North Korea in this universe is pretty funny now. So Miami's gonna have an equivalent company as like Samsung down here. Mexico and the rest of Central America have now also been turned into kind of Southeast Asia, the Republic of the Caribbean. I'm guessing this is the Philippines. I believe we have a communist Mexico and Yucatan Peninsula. Meanwhile, the Christian Republic of Sonora, a little bit less obvious to me which Asian country is each of these Central American nations. Yeah, especially because the flags haven't changed. Oh, Guatemala's Nepal. Okay, so some of the flags have changed. That's funny. Oh, is San Francisco the equivalent of Singapore? No, I'm sorry. Oh, that's Hong Kong and Macau. But which is which? I think San Francisco is Hong Kong. San Jose is like Macau. The Las Vegas of Asia is what they call it. They might speak Portuguese here in San Jose. Interesting that the Chinese version of America has changed their capital to Browder City. Belize and Honduras are like, I think, Laos and Cambodia. Hawaii might be independent. This is pretty good. Oh, Mexico is India and Sonora is Pakistan. Pakistan. That's why they're like super Christian. I'm like, what Asian country is like really religiously Christian? Dang, I should have known that. I'm a little disappointed in myself. Oh, this is gonna be an interesting one. In 2019, I met a man who claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2137. This map is the result of how he explained the world. So this time traveler clearly suggested a broken up America. Did he actually go through each individual state? Like if he described how serious these borders were between Phoenix and Texas, this man must have actually been from the future, because everything here is so oddly specific. It must be like, it must be real. I don't know. Does he have access to a DeLorean? I don't know if anyone's gonna get that joke. North America as a whole has completely fallen apart. Canada is still big, but interesting, Quebec has got their independence. They've completely renamed the Northwest Territories. This must be a post-apocalypse world, like we're just all fighting in the middle of like deserts for water. I don't know. We have a new Argentina, as well as a very split up Brazil. Europe looks like they might have gone back to the Dark Ages. Germany's been divided into 3, but Austria has like Bavaria. The lowlands have kind of been united somewhat. Belgium's been divided though. The UK still exists, but they just exist in a way that I've never seen them exist before. Like Scotland didn't get their full independence. They did lose Northern Ireland. We have Denmark that unfortunately did not join the United Scandinavia, which is just Sweden and Norway. Russia has lost quite a bit of territory from pretty much all sides. There's like exactly 3 people that live here. Love that no matter what, Mongolia is still always going to be there. China's going back to more Civil War times. This is really not what the Earth needs. This is like millions of casualties overnight. That's just what China does. They're very good at like collapsing and then just millions perish. Historically, that's just been their cycle they go through. How about Australia and New Zealand though? Completely untouched. Although New Zealand has changed their name a bit. We've got some references to some much older nations. Some of the name changes are referencing back historically, which I guess tends to be what country names do. Not surprised at all by this. The Spanish just couldn't keep the languages all together, I guess. I'll be honest, I don't know where I would want to live. Japan's no longer Japan. See, I have a feeling though, like I was gonna say, I'd rather be on like an island place like Japan. That might be the safest place, but with the world in complete chaos like this, who knows what's going on a government level? They might have gone back to their old fascist days. I don't know. So maybe being on an island wouldn't be that great. An alternative ending to World War II. I love breaking down these maps because I feel like some of this stuff is not that far-fetched. Although this one is a bit of a stretch, for some reason giving Germany back their old imperial borders, and East Germany, which is, I'm assuming, communist now, just being really stretched out. So this is how the world actually looked like after World War II. East Germany was kind of just a little sliver right here, as you can see, but you can also see what Germany's current borders were going to look like. You know, you can see the outside at least. And this is what Germany looked like during World War I. Now, there are consequences for World War I, and losing that was that, you know, the border war, of course. I'm wondering why after World War II they'd randomly decide, hey, let's bring Germany back to those big borders again. This is definitely a world where the Allies definitely made Austria pay more. They actually put some blame on Austria. That's insane. Nobody ever does that. So West Germany includes them. We also have a completely massive Socialist Republic of Yugoslavia. Oh my goodness. Well, right now this is fine, but in the 90s when this collapses, I don't even want to think what is going to happen. Bad enough what already happened. Now you're including Bulgaria too? Oh boy. Hungary has their tail again. I feel like Yugoslavia would still remain independent. They wouldn't technically fall behind the Iron Curtain in this world. Maybe, I'm not sure, but probably not. Initially, who knows? I will say this is definitely a unique map, a unique imaginary map. I never expected to see old Germany back. The idea here is the Soviets did it without asking the West. They just brought back the German lands. Another part of this that I literally didn't even talk about at all is just Poland getting annexed for some reason. They already had Ukraine and Belarus. Now Poland is officially part of the Soviet Union. They still have their puppet states though. I mean, I think it's not that far-fetched. The United States of America, if we perfectly gridded out everything, because we love drawing straight borders. So we now have 44 states in this weirdly squared country. Of course, we didn't start off like this. You know, the eastern states are pretty curvy. We definitely started getting lazier as we expanded westward during the whole Manifest Destiny thing. Started drawing like straight lines. I could see us wanting to reorganize all this stuff. An almost perfect grid. And God we trust. And a nice grid, of course. We getting gritty. Unfortunately, the biggest state in the Union is not gridded out. A little disappointed by that. I mean, I don't know why you'd want 3 people in a gridded out Alaska, but whatever. I'm trying to think what would be the most OP state in this world. Say what you want about California, but they do make a lot of money, but this is a California that no longer has LA. Well, oh, sorry, California. This is the part that has LA. They don't have San Francisco. Silicon Valley has become their own thing. I feel like both would function pretty equally. They'd both be relatively powerful for their size. Who gets the Texas Triangle? Is it mostly Texas? New Texas doesn't have a whole lot going on. Oh, wow, they just straight up named this Houston. I feel like like maybe these two parts of Texas would be stronger than New Texas. Sorry, New Texas. Louisiana looks awfully less booty. I'm a little bit sad about that. Bring me back my booty. I think Florida would probably be the strongest. Florida is kind of the same. They lost the Panhandle, but Florida still might be the most powerful. Then again, that Empire State though, that's a lot of economic development, a lot of big cities in there. Oh, actually this is so dumb. It's New England. It is definitely New England. They have New York, they have Manhattan, they have Boston. This has got to be the most powerful state, right? They definitely have a lot of population. It's going to be between Florida and New England in this world, I think. Illinois is looking pretty U-shaped with Chicago somewhere here. Might as well just give them the whole lake. So many of these states lose so much of their personality when you grid them out like this. Wow, I never thought I'd say that. What the hell is this, Hamo? I like how we threw in a West Montana and East Montana right next to the North Dakota and South Dakota. We do need more states called East and West. Well, we only have West Virginia. Oh, there's no West Virginia. There is an East Carolina though. We've lost Mississippi in the divorce. I don't know why this has to be a divorce, but whatever. Upper New York doesn't have New York City. Empire State also doesn't have New York City. It doesn't need to make sense. It's not like our current US borders make any sense either. Whose bright idea was it to name our capital Washington DC, but also have a state called Washington? Maine politics would be crazy considering there's about 600 people living there, and they're gonna get 2 whole senators if we keep our current US Congress. Thank you for the gritty. The United States of America, if our name was actually correct, if we actually were states in all of America, because if you're from North or South America, you are technically, by definition, American too. So we've taken over all of America. We properly have the name now. The capital is still Washington, D.C. Population 1.1 billion. That would be insane. That's a lot of land mass. I mean, it's kind of crazy that China and India have over 1 billion people, yet we need 2 whole continents to be able to have 1 billion people. And this is outside of America too. We get the Philippines even. Remember that the Philippines already were previously an American colony, so we grabbed them back. We're even getting parts of Europe, technically, with Iceland. Not too long ago, Donald Trump did want to buy Greenland, so I guess we accomplished that. I like how we kept the normal Canadian province borders. That makes things a little bit easier to address, to digest here too. I think the US states are also the same. We have given California our rightful Californian peninsula. I mean, you just gotta unite them because they're both named. They're all named California. There's actually 2 states in Mexico that divide up this peninsula. New Biscay. Okay, so Mexico's definitely been pretty divided. There is still a Mexico state though. Guatemala's a little bit bigger. Central America doesn't have the exact same country borders. Hispaniola has been forcibly united, so this would be a very interesting state because there's going to be some French influences and the Dominican Republic influences. Puerto Rico has officially become a state. That's the only way I guess it becomes a state if, well, I guess if America annexes everything. Colombia is divided into 2, Venezuela as well. Also, we had to extend the grids out to Brazil for whatever reason. We just can't have too many states without straight lines. You need to have the straight lines. You can't be American if you don't have the straight lines. Chile's not long boy anymore. That's the biggest travesty of all. What's going on with Africa? There seems to be a little bit of differences here, or maybe are these just rivers? One thing for sure though, this would be a lot of coastal territory to have to protect. And you gotta be able to guard your borders. Even if the US still has the biggest navy in the world, you know how much more territory this is? Like, you're gonna have to protect from the southern tip of Chile all the way to the Philippines. I mean, we're gonna have to at least like double our navy. HDI 0.9, GDP 80 trillion. Funny enough, the largest city is actually St. Paul. It would not be Mexico City, because I know it's the biggest in North America, but I guess it would be probably something in Brazil. Where is St. Paul? Oh, that is in Minnesota. Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Apparently, a bunch of people moved to Minnesota for whatever reason, maybe because it's more of a center point in our new American empire. Honestly, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. Yeah, might as well give them back Liberia too in Africa. I see what you did to the Brazilian states, and I don't like it. Oh, a lot of the cities have been changed to like English names. The Portuguese is gone. Oh man, how horrific. And big thanks to my patrons.
DrewI'mYourDadBackWithTheMilkLookOutside.
Kansas was mentioned.
DoOOCHBAGGINS.
aPhatNarwhal.
Carmel
Amateur Archaeology.
DaBeautiful-MEGAN-Underwood.
Fredrik
Henrik
Hedlund.
Without
InquisitorXarius.
Traven's annoying friend.
KirinoIsBestGirl.
LuxembourgLover.
RyeThePie.
I love
The
Tambre.
Mexican 760.
And ZaneyBoi.